What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I got to have a conversation with you guys about Teach Henley because you see how the sun is hitting me? This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Teach Henley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Teach Henley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Teach Henley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Man, what is going on? There we go. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank y'all for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Let me see something. I dropped my literally my let's see if I can get this right. Let's see if I can get this right. What's going on, friends? Such is life. Been an interesting morning. Interesting morning. What up, friends? What's going on? Man, let me tell you, it was an interesting weekend and an interesting morning. And I'm trying to make sure that everything is right and good. But life is 10% of what happens to you, 90% of how you react to it. What up, friends? What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? I see y'all in the building. Thank y'all for continuing to tap in. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. I was maxing and relaxing all weekend, trying to take some time off, trying to take some personal time. That didn't go well because all I did was get anxious. You know what I'm saying? All I did was get anxious by resting and relaxing. You said, what's the word, A? Resilience. Resilience. Let me ask y'all a question because I want to jump right into the show. We got the Q show tonight. Frame Fights was lit last night. So shout out to Miss Sanchez and Slimmy. Let me ask y'all a question. What are your plans for next year? You made it through this year. You made it through this year and you recovered. That's why 80 don't do paternity leave. Nah, I can't do paternity leave. What are y'all plans for next year? Keep going up, make more money, vending machine business. We still got 3 weeks to hit all of my money goals. That's a long list. What up, Just a Brown Girl in America? Good morning, Chasers. Unfortunate news, but we're going right back to 12:30 start times at this rate. Each day we switch to 10 a.m. Later, we're going to dock your pay. Nah, we're going to keep it at 10. We're going to keep it at 10. I want to finally max out my TSP, focusing on strengthening and building my relationships with people going to continue school too. I like that. More money, staying in my word, and progressing better next year. Getting my ultimate general contractor's license, already registered in class for January. Why don't I have white people on my other show? What's the other show? What show are you talking about? If you're talking about the Q show on Monday night, we have white people on there all the time. But I'm not responsible for recruiting. I don't recruit people. Be more self-sufficient, walk in rooms with people who are better than me, get closer to God, and gain max muscle. Kill it then, Lex. Building a party rental business, documenting the whole thing on YouTube. Building my community engagement so I can run again for office in 2027. Bible study crew asked me to do it twice a week. I said we would start that in the New Year's, but we implemented it last week to get ahead. Go back. No, I want to go back to school. I want to go back to school. Go back to the other studio with the long sleeve AD shirt. This set makes the morning show seem unreal. Well, here's the thing, Mario Elliott. Last year in December, and if you pay attention, and I don't know if you was here last year in December, last year in December I did the same thing. So I took like a month. Actually, I took like a month and a half, almost 2 months last year, November and December, and I did some revamps. That's how you got the studio that I was in, right? So we will end up back in there, but I got some different things that's going on in here. Some construction, not in that studio, but I got some construction in other places in here because I plan on, making some upgrades. So every year towards the end of the year, I make upgrades and I make adjustments and changes. And then we start off the new year and we get to booming. We get to the money. So again, changes, evolution, growth. That's how we wind up getting to 400,000 subscribers on this channel. Well, not the only way. We put in the work and stuff too, but all of these different changes and things led to me having over 1.6, 1.7 million subscribers before the end of the year. So it's almost like you got to take a step back in order to take 2 steps forward, which is also feeding into exactly what we're talking about as far as what are y'all plans. That's why I be wanting to know what y'all plans are. What are you doing now that will then lead you to be successful next year? Because if you just think that you're just going to wing it and you're just going to be better, then you're not. You got to actually make the adjustment. You got to actually do things that's going to feed into your success. You know what I'm saying? You can't just say, oh man, this is what I'm going to do. Well, if that's what you're going to do, then that means that that's what you've been putting together in anticipation of going in the next year. AD, where's the money? It's everywhere. It's all around us. It's money everywhere. You can literally pull money out of the air. Got a large urban garden coming to the east side next year. Put more money in the stocks. Controlled spending. I'm going to spend like crazy next year. I'm going to just tell you right away. Next year is going to be one of them years for me. Next year, I'm gonna teach you how to ball. That's what 2026 is, teach you how to ball that year. Yep. We gonna party, we gonna ball. Lifestyle. Next year, I ain't even gonna cap for y'all. Yep, we gonna still make the strategic investments, but I'm gonna blow a lot of money next year. You start flight school in 2026? Nice. I'm going to teach you how to ball. I'm going to show everybody how to ball and how to get to a bag next year. Yeah, it's going to be one of them years. We're going to definitely do it. I'm not controlling no spending next year. I'm just going to, I'm going to mess up so many bags. I'm going to mess up so many bags next year. It's going to be insane. And then in 2027, God willing, we can get back to regular schedule program. But next year, I'm spending it all. Spending it all next year. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the show. Let me acknowledge a lot of people. And again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. We got the Q show tonight. I'm doing 2 live streams this week. I think I'm gonna do it Wednesday and Thursday. I'm not sure yet, but I plan on doing 2 live streams this week on Patreon. Let me see. Getting cured of boxolitis. Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really care about hoes next year. Yeah, I know. I seen it. I seen it, Jordan. What up, Nichelle? I don't care. Women is taking a back seat to the lifestyle next year. If Diddy taught us anything, is that make sure you pay your people, and women will be your downfall. You see how bad Diddy's boxolitis got? Diddy was at level 9, level 10. He might have been at level 11 boxolitis. And so that's why he in the situation that we in. Got to put the hoes on the back burner, and then you focus on getting to the bag. For real. Diddy was at level 11 boxolitis. That's one of the reasons why he couldn't focus. Start doing pink cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Messing with people, baby mamas and all of that stuff. And so next thing you know, he fighting for his life, and he got to continue to fight for it. Shout out to Kamika Roberts. I appreciate you, love. Thank you for holding me down. You said Shannon Sharp had level 7. Spencer Campbell says, good morning, AD and the Bag Chasers. Shout out to Spencer. Thank you, my friend, for holding me down. Thank you for contributing into the platform. Mike that dude says, what up? Always holding me down. Spencer and Mike that dude, some of the most consistent people I've ever seen in my entire life. John Teal says, I stand with you about Missy. Yeah. Which is pretty crazy because we started a new show on Room 9, and we had our biggest audience on Room 9 yet. Biggest audience on Room 9 yesterday. Crazy. I don't expect for that show to have as many people holding it down, especially because it's not a messy show. We talk about films and documentaries, and we just talk about that type of stuff and going to the show and stuff. And you had all of them people in there yesterday, and I'm like, what is happening? Maybe people want something different, and they don't know it yet. And so we're going to give it to them. What up, Island Styley, my girl? So what about the Supreme Court decision today? Let's get into this, all right? First thing that I want to talk about actually is a snow hare, all right? So shout out to my snow hares. We're going to cover a lot this morning, so if you got a lot to do, then you can be distracted by me, and I'm going to get you through your workday. Also want to acknowledge my girl says, Just a Brown Girl in America says, good morning, Anton. What up? What up, Just a Brown Girl? What up, baby girl? What's happening? This is a video that I actually kind of did a reaction to, but I want to get y'all thoughts on it. All right, we're going to spend 10 minutes on this. Again, make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
I am so sick of people talking about the economy and how people need to just stop buying coffee or wait till they can afford kids to have them. It's tough out here for everyone. I'm a controls engineer. I have a good job. I've been doing this for a minute. You can Google a controls engineer salary. I should be able to live very comfortably as a single man with 3 kids. I should have no financial struggles. I should be able to afford a home. I should be able to afford a brand new car. And all of this while taking trips and having vacations. And I live in a trailer. I drive a fairly new car, yes. But I have to budget. Like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I cannot get ahead. I do not buy expensive clothes. I do not take expensive trips. I do not put stuff on credit card. I'm not there yet. But for what I make, I should live very comfortably, and I don't presently. I thought at one time if I made as much as I make now, I would be rich and have no problems. And that's probably true 8 years ago. But over the past 5 years, I have seen my standard of living substantially drop. I am living a lower middle class lifestyle. And I make good money. I don't drink my coffee out. I make it at home every day. I carry my lunch. I take my kids to fast food maybe once a week, 30, 40 bucks. I have a Planet Fitness membership. I shop at discount clothes. I thrift for almost everything. So telling people to just stop buying coffee and they could afford a home or just to wait a little bit till they can afford kids is just gaslighting people. We're being robbed by our government through the hands of corporations, by our government's control. And hearing people and reading comments that people are just don't get it. They really don't. I feel bad for my kids. I feel bad for people starting out today. Gen X didn't have it very easy. The millennials didn't have it very easy. And I don't know what Gen Z is going to do. We're in a bad situation in this country financially. We're $38 trillion in debt, and they're about to turn the printers on again, which is going to cause even more inflation and even more problems. So I don't have easy answers, but telling people to stop buying coffee and wasting money, like that's we're past that. We're way past that. It's time to do something. I don't know what, but something's got to give.
So our resident Snow here says that he makes, I'm assuming, six figures, because I pulled up what a controls engineer makes. And I was, I anticipated that it was going to be around this much, but, he says that he's making, I'm assuming, anywhere between 90 and probably about 150, 160 per year, depending on where he lives. And he says that he makes six figures a year, and basically he's broke. And if you would have told him 8 years ago that he would be making this, now he's no young guy. So because he's not a real young guy, I'm assuming that he's been doing this for a while. And if you've been doing this for a while and you've been making six figures, I'm trying to understand now. Again, I want y'all to be absolutely honest with me, because again, this show is not a show about me. This is a show about us. You are my co-host for the show, and you provide me with the feedback that I need. So I'm trying to understand how a control systems engineer that make anywhere from starting off 70 for mid-level roles, 70 to 100 for mid-level roles, reaching 100 to 130K, 100 to 150K if you were a major automaker like Nissan or Ford. So let's just round it off and say that you make about $110,000, $120,000 a year. You are a single man. You are living in a trailer. You don't have any major responsibilities that you told us about outside of your three kids. And I will also say that having three kids, it's a big difference between having three kids and having one kid. I don't know if he's spending all of his money on their extracurricular activities. I don't know if he has a bunch of student loans. I don't know if he's paying child support or alimony, or he previously got divorced. I'm not sure what all of this stuff is. But usually what I see from a lot of these people that make these videos and they're looking for some type of feedback, where they're trying to say, hey, man, this economy is hit. I don't know what's going on. Everybody is struggling. If you are making between 110 and 120 per year, and you are a single man, and I need y'all to really give me some feedback based off of your own lived experiences, as well as what you see happening in real life, not on the internet, but what's happening in real life. What is your expectation for how you should be living your life? And do you think that it is too expensive out here in society in the United States of America for you to be able to live a fruitful life? Mel says the culture online is about coddling each other. To be broke to introduce socialism is a psyop. A trailer, I would get rid of that car and rent a house. People have a spending issue because he may not want to accept the fact that he needs more income. He's already old and probably doesn't want to learn a new skill. I don't think you need to learn a new skill as a controls engineer. Could have saved money by not getting tattoos. I shop cheap and own everything, and I buy cheap. Budget seems off. 100 grand. Don't do it like it used to. Really, it doesn't. I lived okay when I made 100K a year. My rent was under 1K a month, and I had one child, no real debt. Bad spending habits. He has been impacted with every crisis, starting with the crash of 08. He may have gotten caught up in extreme debt that he adjusted and has been able to slowly live without losing everything. Children aren't expensive. That car payment probably killing him. He has 3 kids. Hello. Some people aren't good with managing money. It's the 3 kids for him. You can't live anywhere unless you clear over $80,000 per year. Really? What are y'all talking about? Did y'all just say that you can't live anywhere unless you make at least $80,000 per year? I know guys that make significantly less than that, make $60,000 to $65,000 a year, and they're doing great. They're doing incredible. They don't have any kids, illegitimate kids that they're paying child support for. They don't even have children. They don't have any car notes. Cars is paid for. They enjoying life. They travel a lot. They don't have no debt. They don't have any student loans, and they doing incredibly well. So what is y'all life like? What are y'all doing with y'all money? The average person does not make $80,000 a year. What are y'all talking about? And this guy said he's in a trailer. He's in a trailer. So let's assume that his expenses is $1,200 for living expenses. And let's assume his car note is $400 and $450 a month. And then you add food and insurance and all of this stuff. So let's say total he got a $3,000 per month budget. Everything else outside of that is self-inflicted. Shout out to the new bag chasers. Everything else outside of that is self-inflicted. I am so confused, bro. I'm so confused. I don't know what y'all doing with y'all money. I have done budgets after budget after budget. I have looked at budgets and I found so much extra inside of that budget, and a lot of people are eating their food. A lot of people are door dashing their way out in life. A lot of people are tricking it out, going out to eat every day. A lot of people are spending it on shopping and all of this stuff. I forgot about what about taxes? If you make $120,000 a year, let's say you pay $20,000 to $30,000 in taxes, you still sitting on $90,000. You sitting on $90K. $90K is the equivalent of about $8,400 a month, clear a month. You telling me you can't live on a little more than $8K a month, clear after taxes? That's assuming that you claiming one. Are you telling me you can't live off of $8K a month? Y'all can't live on $8K a month? Boy, on $8K a month, I can make some stuff shake. On $8K a month, I can make some stuff shake. I could definitely get there. Oh, I could 100% get there on $8K a month. Absolutely. After rent, I don't even really have no expenses. I'm paying my rent and I'm chilling. And here's the other caveat. There are plenty of nice places. I don't know where y'all live, but I've traveled all around the country and I've seen rent for $1,000 a month all day long, every day. I've seen rent for $1,000 every single day, all day long. I can go and find rent right now for $1,000 a month. rent. Man, look at all of these units. 3,200 units. What city y'all want to go to? Let's go to a middle city. Let's go to Atlanta. Atlanta is in the middle of the country. Atlanta for rent. Price, I want it to be from 800 to 1,200. That'll put me squarely in that space. For rent, 800 to 1,200. It's a ton of places all over Atlanta. All over Atlanta. Studios, one bedrooms, 11, studio, one, 4 beds, 1 bed, 2 bedrooms, $950 a month, $1,100 a month, $1,100 a month, $950 a month, $949, $1,088 a month. And it's so many different, it's 1,000 pages. So okay, so now that we put that to rest, because if I say, well, Anton, you living in Metro Detroit, so it's cheaper. So you telling me all of these places is gonna be infested with roaches? Y'all lying, man. Y'all lying. Every single place that you go to, look at this. Are they by decent schools? Make your school decent. It's literally dots across the entire Atlanta landscape. Look. Because I see some of y'all saying, well, those places aren't usually nice. All right, cool. So let's evaluate that, Sierra. Let's evaluate that, Sierra. Because you're saying most of these places aren't necessarily that nice, right? Nobody said that you was going to be living in a lap of luxury if you're paying $950 a month. You're paying $950 a month so that you can stack. If I'm paying $950 a month and I don't have any other real expenses outside of food and transportation, I could literally limit my lifestyle to $2,000 a month. And if you're making that amount of money that he says that he's making, that means you stacking $6K. Stacking $6,000 a month and you discipline for the next 2 years will put you at $140,000 saved. Bro, you make the small time sacrifice. You do it for 3 years. You got $210. You're basically buying a house cash and you can literally pay it off. And then that's when you start to level up. By then, you could sell that house or move into a different one, or you can rent it off and you can start to do all of this stuff. What do you expect for them to do? You want them to have a private chef inside of the place? That's the whole idea. Listen, I'm there to sleep. I go there to sleep. I go there to use the internet, and I put a couple things in the refrigerator. The rest of the time, I'm out and about. You a grown man. Now, I don't expect for women to work 2 jobs, but if I'm a man, listen, if I'm a guy and I'm a man that is single and I have no responsibilities, like he said, outside of his children, you have no other choice but to work, stack, run it up, invest in your business. And then I'm going to do that in the daytime because he probably works 8 to 9 hours a day. The other, get a part-time job where you working 4 hours during the week, and then you do 8 to 10 hours on the weekends. You could probably take advantage of some overtime. So you're probably going to be making more than that. And then you run up a bag. You stacking, man, you have no clue. I have stacked 70, 80, 100,000 a year. Sometimes you can get a 2-bedroom for 14 and split it. And that way you only paying $700 a month because you got a roommate. You stay down for the next 2 to 3 years, nigga. You up for the rest of your life. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? I'm gone. I don't have I don't have no assets in the house. The only thing I got in there is a TV, some internet, a laptop that I'm probably carrying with myself. And that's just a place for me to sleep. I'm not even going to put no money into that. All I need is a bed, a dresser, a closet, and a refrigerator. I'm gone. I'm gone. I'm running it up. I'm chilling. I'm staying down for the next 3 years. All I'm doing is stacking and investing, stacking and investing, stacking and investment. Bro, if you would have invested over the last 2 to 3 years alone, and you were stacking up, and you were saving at 60, 70,000, and you was minimizing your lifestyle, a lot of people were getting 30 and 40 and 50% returns on their portfolio, depending on what they were investing in. If you wasn't investing in Nvidia and all of that stuff, you was more than doubling that. So now you was taking that 70 and you was getting it to 130 or 100. Let's just say 100. You getting that to 100, nigga, that's your house. You ain't got no house note no more. If you were stacking and literally living like you was poor, and all you did was invest, and all you did was do what we told you to do inside of the Patreon on Stock Club, and you stayed down, you minimized your expenses. Hey, mom, I want to come back home. I'll help with the rent. I'll help with the little utilities around here. And, I just need to stay down for the next 2 to 3 years, and I'm going to stack them. I'm going to save. Anton, that's not possible. That's exactly what my brothers did. That's exactly what I did. Both of my older brothers did the exact same thing. My younger brother did the exact same. All four of us did the exact same thing. My older brothers, they didn't know any better, so they broke out on their own at first. And then after a year, they said, hey, we about to come back home, and we just going to save. They both practiced group economics, and then they bought their house together. They saved up for 2.5 years, and then they bought their house together, took their families, and then eventually they saved up, and then the other one went off, and he bought his house cash too. And my younger brother did the same thing. We don't have no house notes. None of us. We have no house notes. All we did was practice group economics. We minimized. We didn't get no car notes, wasn't no stunting, wasn't no balling, wasn't none of that. We all just stayed down and ran it up and then paid for the house. We'd never have a house note. My daughter, it's going to be the same thing. She'll never have a house note. I honestly don't understand what y'all doing. Some of y'all say I can't live with family members. Go get you a roommate. You ain't got no friends. You ain't got nobody that you can do a roommate with. Zero people. Zero people that you can do. Somebody said the economy is bad. He just said he a controls engineer. You don't have to have a new car. You don't have to take a vacation. Take 3 years off for a vacation. Take 3 years off. You got the rest of your life to ball. I'm confused. I'm honestly. No, I'm not. I got a younger brother. I'm the middle. You got the rest of your life to ball. You can literally just live off of nothing. Noodles, but the chilled, regular food. Listen, no bread, lettuce wraps. Lettuce is cheap. Strawberries, grapes. Eggs is cheap. You can get 2 dozen eggs for nothing. And you know how many different meals you can make with eggs? Egg sandwiches, omelets, boiled eggs, fried hard. Boy, you know how many different things you can make with eggs? And it has the best protein. If you boil it and then you slice it and you remove the yolk and you only want to do just the egg whites, boy, you killing it. You know how many different things you can make with eggs? Eggs stacked. Stack on eggs on eggs, and I'm running it up. 3 years, I'm going to be so tired of eggs, I ain't going to never have to eat an egg again if I don't want to. Great. Honestly, I'm so confused. I don't know what y'all out here doing. So anyways, make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's see what's happening. Branson says, I stayed up like a maniac last night to chase the Warner Brothers story, and I'm glad I was right. It means that the higher probability of Paramount gets CNN before the primaries. I'm gonna get into Warner Brothers in a second. I don't know how, but I want to know how. Knowledge is power, and I'm a sponge. Move like things will get worse. Love you, AD. God bless. What up to my girl Lex? Wiggles Nation says I make 200,000 per year, and I live like I make 60K. Workers of mine live a much nicer life than my family, but my house is paid for, and I don't need what I make while I live paycheck to paycheck. See, I live in Essex County, says Chris Will, New Jersey. From that article, I'm at 63 a year. I'm at 63 a year, chilling single, only student debt from trade school and a lower car payment. They lying. Crimson says, greetings. Somebody wants some money.
Hello.
Ooh, somebody just woke up.
I've been up.
I'm on speakerphone on the show. What's going on?
For the demo that he did at the Waterford one.
Yeah.
He needs some money.
So what's the progress? What's the timelines and stuff?
He's supposed to start the cabinets this week. And then once he's done with the cabinets, bring in the floor people, or no. I think I'll probably bring the plumbing people in first. And then
do we got a design for some of the other stuff like the bathrooms and stuff like that?
No, you was trying to outdo me, so you was talking about how your design was gonna be better than mine. So I thought maybe you already had something in mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick some stuff out for that one. When are we getting an inspector on the other property?
We're still waiting for the inspection guy because the inspection that he did, I'm sorry, not inspection, the insulation guy. The insulation that he did, to me, the work was horrible. So I told him that. And so now he's waiting to talk to the inspector to see if he has to do more, because when they sent the list from the inspector, he said he wanted it to be floor to ceiling. He said he's never heard about that in the basement. So he was waiting to talk to him to see exactly what he wanted before he did it over.
All right, because I met with the realtor, and after we get the because that's the only thing left, and the window treatment. So after the window treatments is in, she wanted to take pictures so that she can list it and put it up for rent.
Okay. That'll probably be another couple of weeks because she said it was gonna take like 3 weeks for everything to come back.
It's not a problem. I just wanted to make sure that when we put it up, it's actually fully past everything and that we can actually get it on the market.
Yeah, but we probably won't have any grass though.
Well, it's the wintertime. You can't see the grass.
Until the spring. They're still saying that it's too cold. If it would have snowed, they would have been able to do it, but they said the snow.
I'm not worried about that. That'll be done in the spring. And then what about the Hilton one?
I just saw a few emails from him this morning. He's trying to get back on everybody's schedule.
No anticipated timeline?
I just saw the email a second ago, so I didn't open it yet.
All right.
To see what it said.
All right. After the show, I'll transfer the money for Greg for the demolition.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thanks.
Crimson says, greetings and good morning, Lord Anton. I like that. You are absolutely right that it's self-inflicting. Something isn't right about that story. Yeah, I would love to. I'm going to invite him. Actually, you know what? Let me reach out to him right now. I'm going to reach out and see if I can invite him because I'm curious to get his thoughts. I'm going to start, when I see these conversations, I'm going to start inviting these people up on a platform, and I want to get their perspective. Message. Hey, my name is Anton. Video. I love to get your perspective. Why does this keep on changing it? Perspective. Why does it keep putting a space in there? Thoughts on your interest. All right. Message sent. All right. Somebody was. Oh, I want to revisit before we get into the birthright citizenship. I want to revisit this whole Netflix conversation because I heard that Paramount is now trying to put in a takeover bid. Let me see something. Yeah, this literally just dropped today. So I want to share this with y'all. Make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We're doing Stock Club on Wednesday and then business on Thursday. All right, let's get into it real quick because y'all know. So let me preface this by saying that Netflix, obviously, Warner Brothers accepted a deal from Netflix because Paramount, Comcast, Netflix, and several other companies were bidding for Warner Brothers so that, you know, they wanted their content library because Warner Brothers basically put themselves up for sale. And so we covered this last week. And what also happened was, so the terms of the deal was this. Basically, Netflix was willing to bid somewhere around $83 billion for the Warner Brothers content library, which included HBO Max, Batman series, Harry Potter. So basically all of the content, and then they wanted to spin off the cable networks and all of that stuff. And so part of what they did was to ensure that they get regulatory approval, they put in almost a $6 billion, if the deal get canceled or it doesn't get regulatory approval, we'll pay a $6 billion fee for that. And that is to ward off all other competitors, the Comcast, the Paramounts, and all of that stuff from being able to submit a bid to get it. Now, remember, Netflix is worth about $430-something billion, whereas they were making an $80-something billion bid for the content library, and that will feed into the strategy so that they can continue to do not only Netflix original content, but also have a leg up on competitors that otherwise are being subsidized by other parts of the business. Amazon Prime has Amazon Web Services and all of the stores. Apple TV has all of the Apple products. So a lot of the competitors that they have in this space are having backing from other products and are then allowing for them to build up their content library while Netflix is basically only doing streaming. So when Warner Brothers put themselves up for sale, Disney is subsidized by all of the other Disney stuff. When Disney Plus removed a lot of their licensing and their content, and they decided that they wanted to put it on Disney Plus so that they give people a reason to subscribe, this is similar to what Netflix is doing, except for Netflix is still the leader in streaming services behind YouTube. Netflix, as far as streaming different programs and movies, they are making this $80 billion bid in order to continue to buy the Warner Brothers library. Overnight, last night, Paramount is mounting a takeover bid to try to prevent Netflix from buying it and then to basically take over the Warner Brothers library. And so this is all what's happening. Wanted to give y'all the crash course of what happened. And now I'm bringing y'all up to speed on what's going on.
An enormous deal that was announced on Friday in which Warner Brothers agreed to sell itself to Netflix. Obviously, a lot of reporting throughout from me on Paramount and their frustration with, in fact, the process itself. And we can now according to the wires and a press release, tell you that Paramount is now launching a tender offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, $30 a share, all cash. Now, what this will have the effect of doing essentially is making the shareholder vote on the Netflix transaction the key, where shareholders will be making their voices heard conceivably. We don't even have a date for that shareholder vote. Typically, it can be 3 to 4 months after the announcement. Obviously, we've got to wait for the merger proxy and get the background, at least the background according to Warner Brothers. But what we do have now is the background essentially according to Paramount. And the fact that throughout in this press release, they feel as though they were not given the attention they deserved and were not treated on equal footing to Netflix. And hence, in bringing a tender offer of this type to shareholders, they are going to share everything with those shareholders of Warner Brothers in the hopes, of course, that they will put pressure on the company in some way and or at least indicate that they're unwilling to vote in favor of the current transaction with Netflix. I should point out as well that as these things go, when you file a tender offer, you are then put the company you filed against in the position of having to file a D9, just looking for some of my notes here, which requires them to come out with all the reasons why they decided what they did. And so we're going to get a lot more explication, let's say, around the process itself.
It's going to be a fun
and
stock
see
club
whether, in
this
fact,
week.
it's supportive when Warner Brothers responds as well of the idea that they were disadvantaged, Sarah. I want to also say that David Ellison, the CEO of Paramount, who obviously has spearheaded this deal, will be joining me for an interview momentarily, right here from the New York Stock Exchange.
That'll be good to hear from him.
It certainly will. So we're going to be speaking with him in a few minutes to obviously get a lot more from their side of the story. But I mean, stepping back, we're talking about an almost $100 billion fight now over this company, being that the Paramount bid, remember, and I've made this distinction all along, but it's worth doing over and over again, is for the entire company. And so is worth some $96 billion, $41 billion backed by Larry Ellison, the remaining $54 billion or so from B of A, Citi, and as well Apollo playing a lesser role in terms of the dollar amount. So they say their financing, Sarah, is completely and totally secure. And again, they feel as though they've been completely disadvantaged in this process, perhaps not getting enough attention from the board that they felt that, or at least the board being fully informed in a way to make a decision.
I'm going to pivot for a second because I went and found an interview with David Ellison, who is the CEO of Paramount, who is trying to launch this takeover bid. And let's switch over to this really quickly.
With David Ellison, the chairman and CEO of Paramount, which this morning has launched a $30 all-cash tender offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery, a company that I believe you bid at the last count 6 times for.
Correct.
But did not come up with the prize that you sought, hence this morning's news. David, why are you doing this?
So look, we're really here to finish what we started. Like, just to kind of take you through the road in terms of how we got here. On December 1st, we made an offer to acquire Warner Brothers Discovery to their board. Had a conversation with David Zaslav. He came back with a bunch of issues. We then on December 4th sent in a bid that addressed every single one of them that is superior to the bid that they signed up. Our offer is $30 a share, all cash, $41 billion in equity that's backstopped by the Ellison family and Redbird, $54 billion in debt with commitments from Citi, Bank of America, and Apollo. We have faster regulatory certainty to close, and our deal is pro-consumer, it's pro-creative talent, it's pro-competition, and we believe that when you actually, to further contextualize, our $30 in cash, or sorry, $30 a share, is basically $17.6 billion in cash more than the $23 in share that they signed up.
Right. Well, you're not obviously paying. You're paying for global networks. Their deal doesn't involve paying for global networks, which are traded as its public company. Which, by the way, also figures very prominently here in trying to determine what the overall value of the respective deals are, because they're $27.75, including obviously the stock portion of their deal, but it also includes, well, what's Global Networks? Is it a $2 stock? Is it a $4 stock? What do you see? Because that can go a long way in terms of at least determining why the board may have said, no, we think Netflix is superior.
So respectfully, we think that basically that's valued at $1 a share. I think if you
why
look,
$1?
So if you look at Versant and where the median of all of this is, it's about 4.5 times. You have to get to 5 times equity value or more.
We're going to go over this, everything. We're going to break all of this down in Stock Club. We're going to look at the charts. We're going to look at the valuations. I'm going to go over which deal is better inside of Stock Club this week. So if y'all not a part of the Patreon, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description because I'm a big fan of Netflix.
Basically get to the, kind of $3 plus that you're claiming. But again, I think the most important thing to go back here is, look, we're sitting on Wall Street where cash is still king. We are offering shareholders $17.6 billion more cash than the deal that they currently have signed up with Netflix. And we believe when they see what is currently in our offer, that's what they'll vote for.
Were you told during the process that cash is king?
Yes, absolutely. What we were told repeatedly was that they wanted all cash. We delivered all cash. We were asked.
But here's my question. Was this bid submitted prior to them actually looking at all of the different bids from Comcast, from Netflix, from all of the other competitors? Was this bid submitted prior to them accepting the Netflix deal, or are they one-upping? And is there any penalty that comes along with them no longer going with the Netflix? Let's say, for example, because we looking at it as, us as fans, us as investors, us as consumers, we're looking at this and we're taking it in as, which company would we want this product library to go to? I would personally want it to go over to Netflix. I think that Netflix has proven and have a track record of being able to take content, take it to the next level, continue to leverage it, and be able to do whatever it is that they're going to do with the product library. AD, this bid was the first bid before anyone else. How do we know that? How do we know that they had the financing secure? How do we know that they actually had the backing? Or did they have an emergency session and start speaking with their financial backers? Because you got to remember, Paramount is only, according to my research, I just looked it up, Paramount is only worth about $14 billion, right? So all of their financing and the valuation of this new company, once they get that product library, a lot of what they're issuing or their offer is based off of debt, is based off of other people basically taking an equity stake in whatever this company is going to be and saying that we believe that you guys know what to do with this product library, and then to be able to make it shake, right? Be able to make something out of it. Netflix already has a plan, I'm assuming, for what they would do for this product library with Warner Brothers, right? Netflix don't want to be in the cable game. Netflix don't want to be in that type of game. Netflix already have their own distribution. And so all they want is the product library itself. It would spin off into a different company. I'm not sure what that would look like as far as debt. But again, we're looking at it from the lens of consumers, fans, investors, all of that. When you looking at it from Warner Brothers perspective, because I can't imagine that they would not take serious a $17 billion more. So what they're basically offering is the equivalent of $100 billion compared to Netflix's $83 billion, all cash. And Warner Brothers, I would assume, wouldn't care about what happens or what they would do once they secure, when I'm saying Warner Brothers, I'm saying that the stockholders, the shareholders, the shareholders are the ones, and the board are the ones that then approve this deal. Is this the most money that they can get, that they can put in their pocket? And that's what I'm saying. Like, it sounds crazy. And I see him, he's basically going on a, pitch. And it sounds crazy to think that they would just completely write off an additional, what is that, 23% grower, more than what Netflix was offering. It sounds crazy that they would just say, you know what? Nah, I don't think that this is a good deal for us. We would rather forego an additional $17+ billion just because we like Netflix. Look, I like my friends. I like doing good business, but I ain't losing no money for nobody, and I got to make the most money possible. You see what I'm saying? So maybe they have a problem really securing financing. Maybe they have liquidity issues. Maybe Warner Brothers is in a bad spot and they need the money immediately. Maybe they're not as confident after having these discussions and vetting all of the offers that these people will actually be able to execute on and deliver. Or maybe they didn't deliver this offer in the same way that he's trying to present it now. Maybe this is an upped ante now that they actually have information on what Netflix was offering, because I don't think that they were actually either disclosing, right? Why would Warner Brothers disclose what the other offers are, but instead say, hey, listen, I want your best available offer, and I need to make sure that you're actually doing what you're supposed to do and that you have the financing and the ability to be able to push this through regulatory approval to make sure, which is one of the reasons why Netflix signed up and said, listen, if we can't push this through regulatory approval, then we'll pay a $6 billion fee just for wasting your time. I don't know. I don't see it. I genuinely don't see it. So let me hear the rest of the CEO, because this is interesting. This is the stuff that I like to see.
That they wanted it to be fully backstopped by the Ellison family and Redbird. We delivered it fully backstopped by
they wanted to guarantee that this deal would actually go through.
The Ellison family and Redbird. And when you look at the scale of the companies, right? Look at the scale of Netflix. 310 million global subscribers. When you combine the #1 streamer with the #3 streamer, that creates a company that has unprecedented market power, north of 400 million subscribers. The next largest competitor is Disney with just under 200 million.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because all of those other companies like the Disneys, the Apples, and this is what I was explaining to people, and this is why I'm going to go over a lot more of this on Stock Club. They're trying to say that Paramount is being disingenuous right now, okay? The CEO, and when he's supposed to be. This is his job. His job is to get the best available deal and do the best for the shareholders of Paramount, right? He's trying to say, well, Netflix is going to have unprecedented market dominance by having 400 million subscribers to their platform when you combine the subscribers together of what is going on over here at Warner Brothers and what is going on over here at Netflix. Their next closest competitor is going to be Disney at 200 million subscribers. Again, Netflix is purely a content streaming company. Netflix does not have the power that a Disney has, that an Apple has, that Amazon has, that all of these other companies that basically are throwing money at these subscription deals. They're throwing money at the NFL. They're throwing money at the NBA. Hopefully they don't throw any money at the WNBA. But they are backed by other companies, and other products are backed by a stronger portfolio of products that allow for them to be able to make higher inroads into Netflix. So what Netflix is basically doing is protecting their market position as a streaming company, whereas you have an Apple who is subsidized by iPhones and MacBooks and all of this other stuff. And so they have a higher barrier to entry. This is what I think that competition is supposed to look like. You have YouTube, who is really the market dominance, the market leader, as far as eyeballs going into and looking at all of this content online. And again, I understand why he's the person that is making this pitch, because he's just trying to do the thing that's in the best interest if he feels as though this product category. And I hate it when they make the pitch and they say stuff like, well, you know, if you're combining their subscribers. That's not how it works. That's not how it works, right? You can integrate them, but it doesn't mean that people will stay along just because you then meld them into the Netflix, ecosystem. That's not how it works. But it's true, Netflix will be bigger. Yeah, you always gonna have something that's bigger. There's always gonna be a bigger competitor until it's not. Blockbuster was bigger, right? If you're looking at the AI wars, ChatGPT was the biggest until you seen Gemini start to kick ass, and now Amazon Web Services is saying that we come into, right? SpaceX is the biggest in its place, but now you see Jeff Bezos launching up Blue Origin and all of this other stuff, and so they're trying to compete for government contracts. Amazon Web Services is the biggest when it comes to cloud computing and cloud infrastructure, but you got Azure, you got Oracle, you got all of these people right on their heels, so there's always going to be a biggest. Who is the biggest and why they are the biggest, and if you have the ability to catch up based off of strategic investment and putting in real work is the conversation that you're supposed to be having. It's not about who's the biggest. That doesn't determine whether you got a monopoly or not. It's if there is sufficient enough competition and investment for other competitors to where you're not going to be the only person that controls the marketplace. That's the difference. That's the difference. It's not just about who's the biggest. To determine if somebody has a monopoly is if there's healthy enough competition and investment from other people that are in that competitive space to where they can't completely dominate and control the market. And it's not even about dominating and controlling the market. The anti-monopoly and the reason why we have government infrastructure to ensure against it is what you do when you then have that power. You then are using that to kill other people that then want to have competition against you. So I'll give you a better example of that, right? Walmart coming into a very basic C student explanation, right? Walmart coming into a marketplace or Walmart coming into a neighborhood. Now, what people have been doing lately is saying, we don't want Walmart to be able to open up inside of our community, inside of our marketplace. We don't want Amazon to be able to create a distribution center over here, or we don't want them to be able to do this. Why? Because it will kill all small business, which they would then be able to lower the prices and sell it at a loss so that they can kill all other businesses. And then that's when they raise the prices up. And then the prices then become more than what they were if you were shopping competitively across multiple different markets in your area, right? And so what people will then say is, we don't want Walmart or Amazon to have a monopoly in my particular area. And so we're going to vote that out because then it would make it less competitive and we wouldn't be able to control market and pricing. And you wouldn't actually be able to get lower prices or get the best price because you only have one person that's controlling the market. In the streaming world, that's not a thing. You have so many different competitors, so many different places to get content, so many different ways you can subscribe. And I don't think that you can make the argument to say that, well, Netflix will be the market leader and they're going to be so dominant to where they won't have any competition whatsoever. That's not going to happen. But I like Paramount's bid to take over because it shows that we still have a competitive landscape in the streaming wars and in the market.
That's bad for Hollywood. That's bad for the creative community. That's bad for consumers. And look at how the market is reacting to this deal. We are literally seeing talent talking about the death of movie theaters. We've all heard Ted Sarandis' comments about how he feels about the theatrical experience. And you've also seen, and our deal is also offering more cash for.
Yeah, let me go over to this real quick.
Netflix stocks is worth, it's within the collar. It's worth at least $3.50 a share to the deal. I mean, saying our cash versus theirs doesn't seem a fair comparison, David.
So Father, respectfully, I disagree. I mean, look, those shareholders can basically go buy Netflix Netflix stock in the open market if they want to, and they're going to be sitting there with a linear stub that's valued at $1 a share, which is a business that's in secular decline. That without the synergies that's basically created by our deal, they will ultimately be holding something that is not worth anything. By every metric you can look at, we believe that our offer is superior to shareholders.
Right. And again, we're going to get a lot of debate around the value of that stub because even though it's an incremental, let's call it difference of $2, it can go to the value judgment. Let me ask you about Paramount, though. If in fact you are successful here, you're taking on a lot of debt, right? I mean, and you're diluting your own shareholders significantly through an inclusion of 41.
Even if Paramount was to be able to acquire this, I would not invest in Paramount because this entire deal is based off of the amount of debt that they have and how many other people can help secure financing to do this deal to try to offer $100 billion for Warner Brothers. It's crazy.
Billion in equity. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, but look, we're the largest shareholder of basically the Paramount Class B common stock.
We being
the Ellison family. We will also be the largest investor in this deal. We're literally sitting here today because we are fighting for our shareholders, and we're also fighting for the shareholders of Warner Brothers Discovery. And from that standpoint, this deal is accretive to our shareholders. When you look at what the combined business would be with the synergies that you put through it, round numbers, $70 billion.
And see, I want y'all to also consider this, and I'm gonna stop here. We'll go into it later. So, David Ellison, who is the CEO of Paramount, is actually the son of Larry Ellison, who is the tech billionaire who founded Oracle. Oracle is also in the deal behind TikTok. The hole gets deeper, right? Again, David Ellison, who is the CEO, and remember the 8 things that we look for when we're looking to invest in a company that we talk about inside of Stock Club. David is the CEO, and why he keeps saying, a lot of y'all keep saying the Ellison family is going to be held back by the Ellison family, the Ellison family, the Ellison family. He's talking about Larry Ellison, who is the CEO and co-founder of Oracle, who also did a deal with TikTok, and they're the billionaire family behind that. They're saying that they're going to help back the deal and that they'll be some of the majority shareholders of this Warner Brother deal, in cahoots with Paramount. We're going to get into it. We'll get into it. So that is what's happening on that landscape. When I woke up and I looked at the different markets and what was happening, and I seen that, I said, I got to talk about this on the Millionaire Morning Show. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Fun stuff. Brenton says Kushner is also a financier of the forced share price takeover. It also means that Warner Brothers will have a fiduciary responsibility to take the higher offer. Maybe. There's some caveats to that. I own Warner Brothers Discovery stock and I'm watching. Yeah, I'm going to have to pay attention to that. All right. Again, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. We also have the Q show tonight, so that should be fun. And we're going to get it popping. All right, so what else is next? What else is coming up? What are we going into now? Let's see. We did the 120K per year. Boom. The hostile takeover from Paramount. Birthright Citizenship. We got to talk about Birthright Citizenship. All right, so let's talk about Birthright Citizenship. Let's get into that. That was the big news over the weekend. I want to look at it from a couple different lenses, but first let's talk about ABC News. Again, make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
Now, the Supreme Court says it will hear an expedited appeal of President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship by executive order. The court did not explain its decision, and the case will likely be heard next spring. For more than 100 years, courts, interpreted the Constitution to give U.S. citizenship to anyone born on American soil, regardless of the legal status of the parents. Now, that may hang in the balance. Our senior Washington correspondent, Devin Dwyer, joins me now. So this is clearly a huge deal and a lot's at stake, Devin.
A landmark case, Kira, and part of President Trump's immigration agenda, his crackdown he signed into law on the first day in office. And it's not the first time that the Supreme Court will look at this issue. You remember just about a year ago, the Supreme Court heard a case involving the president's attempt to end birthright citizenship. But at that time, the justices were squarely focused on whether individual courts around the country could block the order while the litigation continued. They ultimately said that nationwide injunctions were not okay, but judges found ways around them. That executive order remains on hold. Birthright citizenship is still the policy of the land, but now the president is back to the Supreme Court asking them to decide this issue on the merits. Even though, as you mentioned there in the intro, more than 100 years of legal precedent has established and reaffirmed that the Constitution does in fact spell out that anyone born on American soil is an American. And what the justices said this afternoon is that they are now going to take it up, decide it once and for all, likely next spring, Kira, when they schedule the case, and hand a decision down before the end of June.
So does the fact that the court will take up this case indicate how it might eventually rule on the issue?
It's a great question. Sometimes it does indicate that there's interest on the part of the court to overturn lower court decisions. But most legal analysts that I've talked to, Kira, say the reason the court is getting involved here is simply because of the magnitude of the issue, the attempt by President Trump repeatedly now to push this issue to the forefront. But all of the federal courts around the country that have looked at this issue in the past, 8-9 months since President Trump took office have all unanimously ruled that it is unconstitutional, it is illegal, and they've put it on hold.
I think that this is incredibly
disrespectful. Next in our spotlight, a major billion.
I genuinely think that this is incredibly disrespectful.
Breaking news now.
And if in any way that they go into this and they say, you know what? Nope, it makes sense for the Constitution to be interpreted for birthright citizenship to be anybody born on American soil, regardless of when they were born, regardless of whether they're illegal, regardless of their status in the United States of America. If they then interpret the Constitution, which I'm assuming that the Supreme Court is going to get it right. Let's remove the Supreme Court from this conversation real quick before we get into it. It's disrespectful to Black people in this country. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you are a liberal or a conservative. For anybody to be in favor, and this is where I stand on this whole conversation, I don't care if you're a migrant, legal or illegal. This is not a liberal versus conservative, Republican versus Democrat issue. This is not a technical legal issue. This is very clear. Trump himself even acknowledged it. And for anybody to say that they hate Trump so much that they can't see the truth, it shows me that you are not an informed person. You are not an informed voter. And this is a very, very basic, clean-cut issue. And for any judge, for any Democrat, for anybody that is standing on the wrong side of this, I think that they should absolutely, positively be protested against. If Black people and white people have any issue that despite what side of the aisle that you're on, that you can't actually come together, and if there's any issue that y'all should protest, y'all protest some of the dumbest stuff that I've ever seen in my entire life. You protest Target. You protest a police shooting that will have no impact on your life in general. But one thing that we do know is Somalis, which we'll get to that in the next segment, are, according to data and statistics, and I looked it up myself, that Arabic people, according to data and statistics, and I looked it up myself, that different people that are of Asian ethnic background, and there's different Asians, Chinese, Singapore is much different than Vietnamese. If you are an American citizen in the United States of America, and you tell me that you interpret this part of the Constitution to mean that anybody that is born on American soil should have American citizenship, you are an enemy of the United States of America, in my opinion. Because if you don't even acknowledge the fact that this was not meant for you, despite the rhetoric, despite the language, that it was created for descendants of slaves, people that did not ask to be here inside of the United States of America. If we're fighting for this loophole so that people can be born here in the United States of America despite their status, you could be an illegal. You could be a person that has come over here to finesse the system. Asian people do it Chinese people do it on a regular basis. They come over here pregnant. They have their children here so that their children can have dual citizenship. And then they go back to their country. And now they are afforded all of the things that all of your ancestors fought for. Under no circumstances do I believe that people that just come over here in this side of this country, that part of the Constitution was to be interpreted by, and maybe the people before us got it wrong 100 years ago. But if you think that this is supposed to be for everybody, birthright citizenship should have been done a long time ago, bro. I don't care why they come over here. I don't care if they come over here for a better opportunity. I don't care. And I don't blame them for taking advantage of what we are falling short of doing and why people are continuing to fight the president, even on this issue. It was only for African descendants of American descendants of slaves. It was only for slaves because their children didn't have a choice on whether or not they wanted to be born in the United States of America. So by default, they deserved to be American citizens. That was it. That was it. Nobody is being brought over here on a transatlantic slave trade. Nobody is a part of this now. Nobody is being brought against their will inside of the United States of America. Why are we sitting here having a debate about birthright citizenship unless you are a person that is trying to finesse the system? This isn't a black versus white issue. This isn't a Democrat versus Republican issue. We shouldn't even be divided on this. So just because you don't like Trump, you're willing to give over your tax dollars. They say that 88% of all Somalis over in Minneapolis and in Maine are on government assistance.
Did was he tried to eliminate the automatic birthright citizenship that all Americans.
Let's go to our CNN chief Supreme Court analyst, Joan Biskupic, who is in the newsroom. What's happening, Joan?
Supreme Court just this minute, Brianna, announced it's going to take up challenge to President Trump's order lifting birthright citizenship. You might remember on January 20th, his first day in office, he took his Sharpie pen and he said, this is a big one. And what he did was he tried to eliminate the automatic birthright citizenship that all Americans have had for more than a century. And what that does, it goes to the 14th Amendment of the Constitution that says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. That means that anyone who's born here, Brianna.
And see, that's the problem, is that we didn't add the context when they adopted this. Now they're translating it to mean whatever it is that they want it to mean.
Automatically becomes a U.S. citizen. And what Donald Trump's executive order tried to do was say anyone who was born of someone who was not here lawfully or who was here
and
on
Trump is the only person
status, that person's baby would not automatically be a citizen. It's a very it's probably of all the Trump actions that have been taken to date, Brianna, this one is the most challenging because what it does is it flies in the face of the 14th Amendment that was adopted in 1868, and it flies in the face of an 1898 Supreme Court precedent that said, even if you were born of, in that case, it happened to be a Chinese national, even if you were born of someone who is not.
It was an amendment that was established in 1868, and it was meant for slaves. It was established in 1868. The 14th Amendment was established in 1868. I can't stand this. I can't stand this. And it's always white women that are at the forefront of everything that is wrong with this country. I don't even know how y'all pedestalize white women the way that y'all pedestalize white women. If you look at everything that is wrong with this country and the people that were on the forefront of every protest for all of the wrong things in this country, it is always a liberal white woman every single time, bro. Every time. Every day that we see something happening wrong, I'm just going to keep it 100 with you. Every day that we see something go wrong, a liberal white woman can't tell me nothing. Nothing, bro. Can't tell me nothing. You white apologists, y'all are, oh my God, I can't stand it. Bro, there is nobody more annoying than a white liberal apologist that are pushing an agenda that we know in our heart that is not good for us. I don't know how y'all keep on getting behind these snow bunnies the way that y'all getting behind the snow bunnies, bro. And I love white people. I love black people. I love everybody that is of good character. But boy, if you can't... Ain't nothing, nobody that is worse. Legislative issues, problems, protests that is regularly, continuously on the wrong side of history than a liberal white woman. The problem is that we get roped up into it. Whether you want to talk about feminism, advocating for birthright citizenship right now, illegal migrants, food stamps, divorce court, family court laws, you name it, they right there behind it with their signs and their homosexuality just right on in there. They love being on the wrong side of an issue. Listen, bro, I am convinced. Let me not say that part. Let me not say that part. Every single issue, it's them. Every single time. Boy, I know that white men are fed the fuck up. I know if I'm a white man, boy, you think that black people is pissed off? Y'all should go in some of these white spaces where white men is fed up. I know that white heterosexual conservative men are like, boy, they stay on the internet talking about, man, why? Why is this even an issue? Why is this something that we're discussing? Why are we even going back and forth? Bro, this shouldn't even be white people included in this. If you're not a legislator, white liberals need to bow out. If there is ever a conversation that we need to say, hey, listen, this ain't your fight. You need to step back for a second. And we don't really want your opinion. Birthright citizenship is the issue. This is oh man. Dog. Aggravate me to my core. Just make my skin fucking crawl, bro. Just make my skin crawl. Every single time I see a white woman that tries to tell me what's wrong with my life, I'll be like, bitch, who the fuck are you talking to? We don't need your help at all. We don't need you as an ally. We don't need a white liberal apologist to help us protest. We don't need you in any way, shape, form at all. I'm just going to be very, very clear. I want to be very direct to you. We good on your help. We cool on whatever it is that you offering. I don't care how good the deal is. I know that you got a knife behind your back. This is you. A white liberal woman is looking like this. No. This is what's no. Come on in for some pie. You want some pie? You want some hot pie? Get the knife ready. You want some pie? You want some pie? Oh, come in. I got some box for you. Look at this. Let me take my gown off. We're going to have a threesome. Want some hot pie? Been getting us in trouble since we got over here. Every dude that had never got himself caught up with a liberal white woman, even in slavery times, that nigga got castrated. They made an example of you. And he couldn't say no. What was he going to do? No, Miss Laura. No, Miss Laura. I don't even like apples. Why would I want apples pie? And she got caught on purpose because she wanted her husband to see her getting the BBC. Got you in trouble and got pregnant at the same time. And even today, you're still getting finesse. Every time we get on a panel, if we start talking about loves me some liberal white women that is super promiscuous with 7 kids. They don't even get the same type of treatment that black women get when they single baby mamas. They don't even get held to the same standard. All of a sudden, y'all have so much compassion for Miss Sarah. I've got compassion for Miss Sarah. But she's apologized for her ways, and she's decides that she wants to come on over to the conservative side. So now we's gonna have to adopt her, Anton. We's gonna have to adopt her, Anton. So wait a minute. I thought that we held all women to the same standard. I thought that we held all women. What do you mean? What do you mean? She got a tramp stamp right on the back. Why should we allow for her to be able to do some of the same things that we're not allowing for them to do? But Anton, I've got me's one. And you think that you bring your little pink toe over here and we supposed to just allow for you to just do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's not how this works. We don't need no more help from white liberal women. No more help. I know y'all think that y'all gonna get invited to the barbecue. I know we got more white women than ever before that's popping up on Instagram spitting bars, and y'all just be falling in love. Oh my God, look at her. I mean, I didn't know that she's was as good at her lyrics, so now she's spitting bars. And they sitting right there. Look at this. Hold on. Let me show you something. 2 white liberal women having a conversation about birthright citizenship and going against their white man, Trump, and ensuring that birthright citizenship needs to be abolished because it was created for black people and African descendants, American descendants of slaves. So now, because they're liberal, white black people are at a crossroads because, hey, Joy Reid is on the side of it. Don Lemon with his sassy ass is on the same side of it. Maybe y'all can align with Don Lemon. There's nothing better to align than with a alternative lifestyle black man. Boy, that is right under a liberal apologist white woman. Right there. Liberal white apologist, liberal alternative lifestyle living black man, lockstep with each other. There's going to be no bigger fans of each other than an alternative lifestyle black man and a liberal white woman. Right there. They lockstep with each other, just burning the whole fucking country down. Torching it as they go. Torching it as they go. Sassy black man, masculine white women, lockstep, made in heaven. Let's go ahead and just burn this whole country down. That's what we've come to. That is what we've come to. And so now I'm supposed to be quiet and whisper because you think it's best for the country and you know better. You know better. They actually hate America. They hate America. Real talk. They hate America. And here's the real caveat. Black men can't wait to get them a pink toe. That is liberal specifically. They don't want a conservative one. Black men don't want conservative white women. They want them hoes. They want them a conservative white, a liberal white woman. And black women love a gay best friend. They'll argue with me on panels all night long. No, we don't like it. Can't believe they in our bathrooms, all of this other type of stuff. Call your best friend. Who? Eric? Not Eric D. Eric, that ain't for you. Eric? Call their best friend. He talking with all these S's and lisps. Hey. Like, the fuck we got going on here? What we got going on here? What kind of in the devil worshiping is this mess that we see out here in these streets? Now, don't get me wrong. We like pink toes too. All right. Nothing wrong with a good pink toe. All I'm saying is that if you are a liberal pink toe, then that's a problem because you just going to be right there just tearing this whole country out the frame. Tearing the whole country out the frame. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel. I'm sorry. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I'm just saying, it just is what it is. Tell me I'm wrong. What am I wrong about? Anton, can we review more of these videos? This is what I think is more exciting, to be honest. We got to cover everything. Y'all want block club and stock club information on the Millionaire Morning Show. This exploit needs to be patched. Chris Voss says former FBI hostage negotiators said that they have to spend resources on people kidnapped in 4 countries because they were born on American soil, but they have never spent any time here. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Let me see what else is going on in these streets. Let's see, we got Birthright Citizenship. Let me see something. I heard that Ilhan Omar is out in these streets talking big shit. Yeah, I heard she was on Face the Nation.
And we're joined now by Minnesota Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Margaret.
We have a lot to get to with you, but I want to pick up on where the Treasury Secretary just left off. He alleged that people who were tied to you or your campaign were involved in this broad, brazen scheme to rip off the Minnesota state welfare system. Do you want to respond to that? Do you know what he is referring to?
I really don't, and I don't think the secretary himself understands what he's referring to. We obviously had people who were able to donate to our campaign that were involved. We sent that money back a couple years ago. And actually, I was one of the first members of Congress to send a letter to the Secretary of Ag asking them to look into what I thought was a reprehensible fraud that was occurring within the program.
So this was, just for our audience, the Biden-era Justice Department called it the largest COVID fraud scheme in the country. And this was pocketing COVID-era welfare funds, more than $1 billion in taxpayer money that was stolen. It was pretty shocking. Of the 87 people charged, all but 8 are of Somali descent. And that has added to the spotlight being put specifically on your community. Why do you think this fraud was allowed to get so widespread?
Well, I want to say, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen. And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also as Minnesotans, as taxpayers, really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
Mm-hmm. So
wait. You're upset about the fraud that has occurred. You're saying that they could have benefited if the fraud didn't occur. You basically just finessed, and the majority of the people that got the finesse on were Somalis. 90-something percent, 98% of everybody that was participating in it were Somalis. And so now you want to spend, and see, this is why you have to be very, very careful of who you elect, who you allow to have power, and who you allow to finesse you. She's sitting there gaslighting us. And instead of holding them accountable, instead of saying, listen, we have to be more vigilant, we have to be on top of this, I don't know how this got by us. This is not a representation. This is this and that. And we need to apologize, and we need to acknowledge that American taxpayers deserve better. And anybody that did this or were a part of this should be deported. And anybody that's tied to them need to be deported. She didn't say any of that. She said, oh, we're disappointed also. So y'all stole over $1 billion. Y'all stole over $1 billion. And there's no accountability whatsoever. Got it.
Do you think, though, that there was a failure by the Democratic state government to police itself? This is a brazen, fraudulent activity here.
Yeah, and that is what I alluded to in my letter that I'd sent to the Secretary of Ag, was to see where things were going wrong. How can this amount of money disappear fraudulently without there being alarms being set off?
I wonder how much.
And it is something that, we have to continue to investigate. We have to continue to ask those questions.
Because, as you know, one of the initial defenses by the organization at the heart of the fraud, Feeding Our Future, was to claim the probe was due to racism. Do you think that this was all about negligence, or that it was like political fear of alienating the Somali community?
So you have to remember that the woman who led the program is a Caucasian woman. And that was her way of making sure that this would continue to happen by using whatever rhetoric that was available to her. We do know that when the money was stopped, they did sue. The AG, Attorney General Keith Ellison, defended the department in that lawsuit. It was a judge that said it should continue, that money should continue to go out. And so this wasn't something that people were not looking at. There was always those alarms, and we will continue to understand where things might have gone wrong as these investigations continue and as these fraudsters are prosecuted and sent to jail.
Well, it's going to have impact for your community, because we've already heard that the head of Medicare and Medicaid say they're going to have a new policy that applies to Minnesota. You heard the Treasury Secretary say they're investigating. But there's another thread here, because House Republicans and the Treasury Secretary just now talked about a link to terrorism, a possible link. He said they're just now beginning to look into it. How confident are you that that's a false claim?
I'm pretty confident at the moment, because there are people who have been prosecuted and who have been sentenced. If there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our.
Wait a minute. Let me replay this one more time. Give me a second.
If there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our courts.
So wait. If your people steal, if Somalis in Minneapolis, who you represent, steal, it is a failure of the FBI to what? Catch them sooner? Or be proactive in being able to catch them? It's the FBI's fault that your people would steal and then send the money back, and then they're actually being a help or a funding of terrorism back in Somalia, which is considered a level 4, no travel. We not even sending no planes there. And y'all don't have any kind of structure or government or any of that type of stuff, but it is the FBI's fault that Somalis in Minneapolis would steal and then send the money back home in a fraud scheme. How are these people governors, bro? How are these people senators? How are these people House of Representatives? How are these people mayors? How are these people? And then they had one that was running for mayor in Minneapolis.
System in not figuring that out and basically charging them with these charges. And so I do know that for many years, this sort of like alarm that there is money being transferred through the airport in bags and going to terrorism that accusation has always existed. There's never been here and there in those accusations. But if that is the case, if money from U.S. tax dollars is being sent to help with terrorism in Somalia, we want to know.
Yeah.
And we want those people prosecuted. And we want to make sure that doesn't ever happen again.
So there are 80,000 people of Somali descent in your state, but the president has been very focused, not just on them, but on you. In this extraordinary cabinet meeting, he said Somalis, quote, come from hell. They complain and they do nothing but bitch. Take a listen.
These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
That knocking is vehement agreement from his cabinet members there. I just wonder what the reaction is in your district to have that from the highest office in the land.
It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting.
True.
These are Americans that he is calling garbage. And we feel like there is...
No. We're not going to do that. We're not going to make it seem like they were born here in America, that they embrace American culture. And that's another thing that we got to start having a conversation about is why are people embracing and allowing for other people that are not of the culture that come over here and bring in their culture? Why are they allowing for them to be able to do that? Y'all let anybody get away with anything at any point, and people is just cool with it. They could say whatever they want to say. They could do what they want to do. They can move how they want to move. They can disrespect you, disrespect the culture. They don't have to pledge allegiance to the flag. They're going to put down the American flag and put up their own flag. They don't have to learn English. They don't have to do nothing. They don't have to pass a barrier to entry to come over here in the United States of America. And we just cool with it. And it ain't even no big deal. No, it's cool. It's not a big deal. We could do it. They could do whatever they want to do. Listen, they're great people. Great people. They love being here and they contribute to American society. Okay.
Is an unhealthy obsession that he has on the Somali community, and an unhealthy and creepy obsession that he has with me. I think it is also really important for us to remember that this kind of hateful rhetoric and this level of dehumanizing can lead to dangerous actions by people who listen to the president.
And 95% of the Somalis in your state are U.S. citizens.
Yes.
Just for clarity there. But the president has restricted all immigration processing, including asylum claims from Somalis already on U.S. soil, along with 18 other countries. ICE reports it has rounded up about 19 people, and they put out press releases with the images of about 5 of them that they say are the worst of the worst. Is that the entirety of the crackdown to date?
Yeah, so far we know of the people that they've picked up in Minnesota. About 5 of them are Somalis. And from what I have read and from the people that I've spoken to, all of them had already had orders of removal. So these are not people who are undocumented, but people who have committed crimes and who should have already been sent out of the country.
I want to ask you about something else that the architect of the president's immigration policy, Stephen Miller, said. On Thanksgiving Day, he posted, "No magic transformation occurs when failed states cross borders. At scale, migrants and their descendants recreate the conditions and terrors of their broken homelands." What do you make of this argument of failure to assimilate and sort of ruining America?
That's a big deal.
How do you understand this?
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me, yes, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people in Germany. And, as we know, there have been many immigrants who have tried to come to the United States who've turned back. One of them being Jewish immigrants. We know the way that people were described who were coming from Ireland, Irish immigrants. We know the way in which people were described back then when they were Italian immigrants. And to me, we're yes, of course, ethnically Somali. We are in this country as Americans.
Yeah.
We are citizens. We are productive part of this nation, and we will continue to be.
Congresswoman Omar, thank you for your time today.
I think that, again, and I stand on this, and I actually got an email from people that were pissed off. Maybe I should try to pull that up. Let me see something. I got some Africans in my emails that's mad at me. I have some Somalis that send my emails that's mad at me. I got a lot of people that send my emails that saying crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Some of them is pretty respectful, so I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying, go into the ones that's respectful. But boy, I got some people that are mad at Tom Dog. Let me see if I can find some of these stuff. Where is it at? Oh, well, I don't have the ability to be. Oh, here it is. Here's one of them. Here's one of them. Let's get into it a little bit. Let's see if I can deep dive into this. Hey there. This is from Edris 22 or Edris 22 Edris. I don't know what kind of name that is. Hey there, I'm one of the most disappointed ex-YouTube subscribers that you got. And I'm sure I'm not alone. I've always observed your racist undertone about Africans. Funny enough, your history traces you back to Africa. He says, we Africans do not care if you like us or not. Whatever mindset you carry doesn't concern us. Trust me, there are more real and silent billionaires in Africa than you will ever have in your FBA. No African is begging to be a part of y'all. They just come over here and just work here. All right. Now, let me also preface this by saying that this is not a reflection of all Africans. I'm an American. I speak American, not English. This is not a reflection of all people that are migrants in the United States of America. Idris 22 Idris stands on his own, okay? But I have to read it because there was some feedback, and I said, you know what? Let me go. I was talking to Leslie yesterday, and I said, let me share this with the people. Goes on to say that I am a well-traveled African. I've traveled far beyond what you will ever do. To hear you say that you are closer to whites than any other Africans is the most ignorant statement to come out of a public speaker. They said we have no difference than Somalis. Let's continue. I'm not going to comment on it. I'm going to let y'all draw your own conclusions. He says, I'm an East African, Uganda. I'm proud one at that. I'm going to read it in his dialect. The issues y'all have with Africans out there are the issues we have with them too down here in Africa. It's very dense of you to carry what Somalis, Ethiopians, Eritreans, and other deluded people do to the entire sub-Saharan African. Y'all with me? Right now, I'm not speaking American. I'm speaking Ugandan. Are y'all still with me? A little bit more.
We don't even care about your American politics. You're being used against each other. If Americans love you so much, as you put it, how come back Americans are below Asians, Arabs, Latinos, and all other groups? I can go on and on. It'll take too long to read it in that. With your disrespect towards your black women, the undertones are clear. But we, real Africans, don't dwell into negativity. You know shit about us. Stop talking about us. Maybe we are stupid to follow y'all and treat you with respect because that's something y'all never get as blacks there. But just know that the black race is bigger than y'all. Proximity, black Europeans are closer to whites than y'all will ever be. You will remain seen as slaves, and that's a fact. Now remember, these are people that come to the United States of America, take our resources, and this is what they think of you. When I told y'all a long time ago, when I had a conversation with y'all, and I said, listen, bro, a lot of these people, they don't fuck with y'all. They don't want y'all daughters talking to y'all. They come over here and they try to talk to our women. And again, this is not all African migrants that come inside of the United States of America, but this is a lot of them. This is what they really feel. I'm just getting this shit up out of them. I'm just getting it up out of them. I'm gonna read it to y'all, and I'm gonna let y'all draw your own conclusion. So take it for what you will. Goes on to say, again, we are proud of who we are. Your people come to our countries and live freely. You don't have any power in the United States to deport anyone. You live at the mercy of whites, just like the immigrants you insult. Blame groups of people, but not race. People outside of the USA don't even care if you exist or not. We come there on contracts signed between countries, not for your attention. Fight with Somalis and be done, but one thing you can never do is to have powers to kick immigrants out of the USA. You are lost too. You're too lost. Spend that energy tracing who you are. You can pretend to be rich, but you will never be white. From a proud Ugandan, your ex-YouTube follower, bye. Now, he would lead you to believe Idris22Idris at gmail.com. He would try to lead us to believe that he doesn't care, right? But I find that very interesting considering that you wrote this long letter. So, again, I just wanted to, Anton, there are some Africans that still rock with you and love the U.S. Oh, yeah, of course I know that. That's why I'm prefacing this by saying that this is Idris, and this is also, because I don't trust niggas that got two of the same names, the first and the last name. That's number one. Number two, I've never cared enough about what anybody thinks to where I had to write them a letter to let them know that I'm actually no longer rocking with them. And then number three, this is the sentiment of a lot of different people and how they feel towards Americans and black people in particular. So I know that this is not all Africans and Ugandans or whatever, but this is how they have a level of disrespect towards black people. This is how they have a level of disrespect towards America. This is how they feel towards white people. This is how they feel towards the American flag. And they don't, yeah, and then he said bye. They don't have no respect for us. So the people that have respect for us and that are legal inside of the United States of America, we're going to rock with them. And the people that have disrespect towards us, we're going to let the chips fall where they may. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order. 20% off for life. We here? Y'all enjoying the show? Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all tune in the room now. We're going to do an Q show live tonight. And we're going to have a long, good conversation. It's going to be fun. Whiskey Pierre Lewis says, Anton Sir Shalom wasn't ready for the show today. Oh, man. I'm going to be cooking up every single day. Cynthia Haynes says, good afternoon, brother AD. Thank you for expressing the facts that this was not our damn fight. TS Car Wash and Detail Service says, AD salute. AR is back, says she hit us with the what had happened was. TS Car Wash says, AD, if you need your vehicles detailed, let me know. You do it in this cold weather? Do you do it in the cold? That's what I'm wondering, if you do it in the cold. Because if you do it in the cold, I know you can do it in the, when it gets warm outside, but if you do it in the cold, then we don't have to have a conversation. Mr. Lott says she's definitely the final boss of Somali and Jada Pinkett. Vincent says no one should be a sitting member of Congress if they're from a foreign country. Their interests are not ours. The U.S. is not the world's dumping ground in the name of politics. T.S. Car Wash and Detail says thoughts on Cinnabon worker fired for racist outbursts. I haven't seen it. You gotta send it to me. Jason A-Team says she's basically saying catch us if you can. How arrogant can you be? Now it's the Fed's fault for not catching these demons. How are they voted in? Aaliyah says, where was this logic when Biden called half of Americans garbage last year? Facts. Talk about it. Or when insert Democrat here has called us Nazis. They are so disingenuous. Also, hi, AD, how's your day going? Better now that I done seen you. Riri, what up? Riri says Stephen Miller is Jewish and she called him a Nazi. Manny Plays PC says get to the part where he says he's an African prince who needs help getting back to his people. Crisis Mode Julian says my parents are from West Africa, but I was born here, and completely agree with your take on birthright citizenship. See, talk about it, big dog. Everybody don't see it's different. And don't be mad. Listen, if you just so happen to be a white woman today or a Ugandan tomorrow, you get this work like everybody else. Y'all all cheering when I hold black people accountable. You cheer when I hold women accountable. Now you want to feel, not the Somalis. Not the Somalis. It's your turn. Yes, we mobile, but I have a shop for the winter. All right, email it to me. I want to know what that looked like. I want to know what that is. Bad habits. I need somebody that'll come and come to my car. What's good, G? Just got my comp TS cert. Security Plus cert. Now working on my AWS certs. No prior tech experience. Any tips on breaking into the tech world? The biggest thing about breaking into any industry is that you have to be. Before I ever became a software engineer or went to school for it, I was already immersed in it and I was building a portfolio to show what I can do. If you're looking for training on the job, then it's going to be a much more difficult way for you to get in versus a person that is already in it, doing it, showing it, and being a person that is taking the initiative and showing what your capabilities are. So you have to be being great at what you do before you ever start to apply for it. You got to be in it. You got to be immersed in it. You got to be doing it. All right. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I want to get into this squatter. Thoughts on the Roach fight. What Roach fight? I'm not familiar with it. I'm sorry. I want to get into this other conversation about squatters. Have y'all heard this story about the Airbnb owner? I won't even do an Airbnb no more. Hold on, let me see this real quick. 2 hours. Let me deep dive into this. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to cover this real quick. Wait a minute. So okay, hold on. So the squatter got into your property through Airbnb. And this is why a lot of people are super fearful to even participate in allowing for certain people to rent their house. They don't want to invest in certain areas. They don't even want to be a part of Airbnb. And I know people that have gotten out of the game because they have such a bad taste in their mouth from somebody ruining their experience as a business owner. And you know what the worst part about this is that the law and judges actually side with the squatters. It's like common sense don't even exist anymore, bro. Police can't even do nothing. The police can't even do anything to stop the squatter from staying in a house that's not theirs. What is happening in this country? Bro, I just couldn't. I couldn't, bro. I just couldn't. Y'all know at certain places that you shouldn't even do Airbnb, or you shouldn't even do it because of squatters laws. When y'all get into real estate, when y'all get into Airbnb, when you become a business owner, you got to also understand the jurisdiction, the law, the county, the state, the city that you're doing business in. If it's super liberal, be very careful because you might be in trouble, bro. And a lot of people don't have the money to be able to float this because they still got to pay the mortgage, still got to pay the utilities. They still got to repair the home after you get out because chances is that you destroyed the home itself, and they get hurt, like they're emotionally broken because no, I would never ever do nothing in California. I know people that are trying to get out of California now. They're trying to sell their properties in California now because they like, no, I got to get out of here, Anton. What do you suggest that I do? DC has been horrible for squatters' rights. New York is the worst too. Or Chicago is pretty bad. California, I know, is trash. They all liberal states. This is why y'all get taken advantage of, because y'all got a big heart. You got to understand that business is business and your heart needs to be protected because your heart is going to be cold when they get done kicking your ass. She on a trick doing cartwheels, and her man is making TikToks together while you over here looking stupid and talking about I got a big heart and I care for her child. She over there doing cartwheels, fam. She on trips. She don't even care. She don't even care. You sitting there caring more about her and her stuff and her life than she will ever care about you. Her and her man was doing cartwheels. Who you think was behind the camera? Who you think that was in the hotel room with her? And then they gonna sit there and then she gonna sit there acting like she's frustrated. I can't believe this. Oh my God, this is so frustrating. I'm so heartbroken about it. Oh my God, what is happening? This is crazy, bro. This is so crazy. Bro, I would be on fire. I would be on fire.
So first, let's just start with. That's fine. Just maybe not the screen door, since we don't know if Shadija Romero, SHADIJA. I kind of speak clearly.
Yo, this is crazy. She's sitting there being acting emotional in a house that's not yours. It's not your place. Get out of my motherfucking house. This is all a finesse. And don't let the tears, don't let the crying, don't let none of that stuff fool you. This is all a finesse. This is a person that is taking advantage of another person. And I don't care how you try to frame it or how many times that they try to act like they crying with the fake tears. Oh, I look to help another person. And no. Get out of my house, bro. Get out of my house. Get out of my house. You're sitting on my couch doing an interview on my couch. You're sitting on my couch doing an interview on my couch. I would be on fire. I would be, some of the stuff that I would say that I would do and how I would handle it, I can't say this online, but they do. You know, to think that legislators are having squatters laws and rights and all of this stuff, in my opinion, is very disrespectful. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Let me read some of these super chats and then we'll come on. Continue. Yes, we're mobile, come to your home job, etc. Roach versus Cruz. But no, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I was doing what was I doing? That wasn't yesterday, so I don't know. I might have been asleep, to be honest with you. I needed some sleep. I needed some extra sleep to get my life together. You know what I'm saying? Anthony, shout out to Anthony. I appreciate you for the super sticker. 392Q in the building says I would have turned the utilities off. I think that they are off. Maybe they're not. TS Car Wash in Detail says she has all the proof, but yet can't get the squatter out. That's because squatter laws. There is such thing as squatter laws. Abe the Hunter says, I know how to fix this. Rent it out again to two big guys. They come home, two guys in a home, boxing their stuff up, saying this is my spot now. Everybody would just get out. Everybody got to go. Anton, did you cover the letter sent to Trump by Venezuela's former chief of spy that is currently in federal custody? Look up Hugo. No, just send it to me. I'm not looking it up. Y'all got to send it to me. You got to email it to me. We feel for that lady. Anton, sir, she messed up on camera testimony. Shout out to Whiskey Pierre. Shout out to everybody. Did y'all hear about Tim Pool? Later need to be in the Tyler Perry movie ASAP. Did y'all hear about Tim Pool's house getting shot up? Hold on, let me share that with y'all real quick. Y'all got it. I just caught it this morning. I forgot I said that I was going to actually have a conversation about it. But this is one of the reasons why I say that you got to be very, very careful out in these streets.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox, and we are following a developing story that we have been tracking.
Tim Pool is a really, really big YouTuber. Yeah, they say that Tim Pool's home got shot up.
Little more than 24 hours after a shooting, gunshots fired there at the home of Tim Pool, who, of course, is known as a big political commentator with millions upon millions of fans on different social media platforms. Now, I do want to start from the beginning here because we heard from Pool on social media Saturday as he gave the initial information saying a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. He went on to say, my immediate thought is someone was trying to scare us, but we have a security gate and armed guards, and it's possible this deterred something more serious. Now, earlier today, he posted this follow-up saying, security believes 3 shots were fired. We are in contact with police and FBI. Thank you for everyone who reached out. If anyone has archived Chicken City, the shots should be audible. Unfortunately, we do not archive the live stream. This would be Friday between midnight and 1 a.m. Important to note, he's asking folks to kind of listen in if they do have that podcast somewhere, because you should be able to hear those gunshots fired. Now, reaction is coming in from all over here. We did hear from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene posting, quote, this is terrifying. I'm glad everyone is okay. Everyone must stand together against this type of political violence and intimidation, no matter who it happens to, whether you like them or not. Former Congressman Matt Gaetz simply writing, so sorry to hear. And we also heard from Andrew Colvette. He is with Turning Point USA saying, quote, this is awful. Prayers for you and your team. Please stay safe. Now, all of this, of course, coming months after the assassination of Turning Point's leader, Charlie Kirk. He was fatally shot as he spoke to a large university crowd in Orem, Utah. That was back in September. As for the latest on the shooting here at the home of Tim Pool, no one was injured, but labeled a right-wing podcaster, Pool does have millions of followers on social media across several platforms and is hoping that someone does have that archived footage where you can hear the gunshots.
This is sad. This is very, very sad. But again, this is one of the prices that you pay for fame. And when people say stuff to me like, oh man, you ain't tough because you got security, or, you know, you don't like to put your family on the internet all of a sudden and all of this stuff, you would never know that because nobody cares enough to know where you live. And you don't know what it's like to have to do things to ensure that your family is taken care of and that you are protecting the people around you, because people are evil and they will try to take your life. It only takes one situation or one misstep or one time. You got to be on top of this stuff 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Cannot miss ever when it comes to making sure that you're on point. You can never, ever, 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 ever miss. Ever miss. So a part of what I do, especially when I'm here or when I'm traveling, is I always move with security. The fact that he has to have, and I don't care which aisle you're on. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, black, white, man, woman. Nobody should have to worry about their house getting shot up and having to have armed guards on watch to try to deter stuff from happening at your house. Nobody should have armed guards. Even here in my studio, I got an armed guard downstairs. That's one of the reasons why I picked this place. Also have double locks on my stuff. I also have bulletproof doors and windows because I need to feel comfortable no matter where I'm at. I have to feel comfortable no matter where I'm at. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars just in my studio so that when I'm here, or if I take a nap, if I decide to crash out and take a nap in the middle of my workday, I should be able to do so without having to worry. So you're really paying for peace of mind. You're hoping that nothing ever happens or people are crazy enough to feel some type of way about something that you said and they don't even know you in real life. They don't even know you in real life. You don't see this happening to liberals. You only see this happening to Republicans. You don't see actually, I take that back. You did see this happen to the Pennsylvania governor, Shapiro. You did see this happening to the Pennsylvania governor, but the person that broke into Shapiro's home was actually a liberal, if I'm not mistaken. It was a liberal, if I'm not mistaken. So Tim Pool, again, first of all, prayers up for Tim Pool, because I don't like to see this happening to anybody. And we should be able to have differences of opinion, but it's some crazy fucking people out here. It's some crazy people out here. So you cannot slip even a little bit. You cannot be, you know what I'm saying, taking stuff for granted. Don't think that you're invincible. The governor of Michigan almost got kidnapped. That's a fact. And I hate the governor of Michigan. I don't hate her personally as a person. I hate her as a politician. Like, I hate her politics. I hate how she's managed the state of Michigan. I hate her finessing. I hate her fakeness. I hate that she be throwing the buffs on and people. I hate all of that. But I would never say that she deserves to get kidnapped. I would never say something that's supposed to happen to her family. I would never support people doing something negative to each other. And when you do stuff negative to other people, you basically make them greater. You elevate them. You elevate their message, because now people know you're trying to take them out. Candace Owens was reporting on her own people trying to or set her up for assassination. Candace Owens was reporting on it. She sure was. Candace Owens was reporting on it. And she was reporting on people allegedly trying to set her up to be assassinated because of how she talks. She was talking about also how people were trying to bankrupt her and throw a lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. And so there's a price that comes with freedom. There's a price that comes with saying what you want to say. There's a price that comes with having visibility. Are you willing to pay the price? You can't even just go out like regular a lot of times. You got to keep your head on a swivel. I'm always in my rear view. I don't like stopping at stoplights for a long period of time at certain times and stuff like that. Man, I am on my. I even decided to get away from, I was looking at Nick Shirley, and it's a couple YouTubers, content creators that be getting their ass kicked on the streets. I ain't got time for that. I don't have time for that. You know, I was at my daughter's banquet having a good time. I was showing y'all last night. This weekend, I'm a dad, bro. First, above anything, I am a father first. I'm not getting caught in none of that nonsense. I'm trying to see my daughter grow up at her banquet and stuff like that. I ain't trying to get all of that. I'm chilling. Anton, why do you keep your stuff so far out? Why do you keep your stuff in trusts and all of this stuff? Man, fuck you. Because I need to see my grandbabies one day, hopefully. Have you noticed all of the political content creators? Oh, this don't happen to just political content creators. This happened to a lot of people. This will happen to anybody that got visibility. Anton is a white straight male. I'm 1,000% in agreement with you on this insanity that they call birthright citizenship. And you're absolutely right about white liberal females. Yep. It might be time for Tim to move. That's another reason why I don't do IRLs in real time. It's a safety issue. That's another reason why I do not do IRLs, because it's a safety issue. I remember the YouTuber that was shot during the live stream. I sure do. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. All right, I want to talk about something else. I want to switch gears for a moment. ICE rents going up in Atlanta. I'll talk about this. I don't know if y'all remember this guy, but it was a guy named Flex Alexander. They used to call him Flex Washington on his show, but I think his name was Flex Alexander, if I'm not mistaken. And he was saying that he went homeless due to bad real estate investments. And I want to talk about that for a second. Hold on, let me see something. Most of these celebrities and these people are going through hard times just like every single body. Shout out to Art from the Art of Dialogue also.
At one point, you was homeless. If you can you get a backstory behind it? Because I mean, to see you bounce back from that, man, that's inspiring.
Yeah. So, I was trying to be smart and invest in real estate, but I invested in the wrong state. It was Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada. Not that anything's wrong with it, but I'm just saying at that time, when the market crashed in 2008, I had a bunch of real estate there. And instead of just letting it go off top, I'm trying to keep it. So I'm going into savings. Like, no, I got to keep this property because we could pass this down to the kids. And, you hear real estate, you always hear that real estate is king and you can amass wealth. I didn't do that. And at the same time, through the bank, we were doing it. It was this thing called a loan modification. So you go through that process, and we were going through that process, kept having to get paperwork, do this, do that, and and it was a game because the bank ended up getting sued.
He did have his own show called 101. That is correct.
Point because
I see he got on the Air King, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's a Rolex Air King. I'm pretty sure that's an Air King. You get into timepieces, you start being able to recognize all of this stuff.
They did that with a lot of people, but you're like giving paperwork. Oh, we didn't get this, we didn't get that. You got to give them this, give them that, and it just happened that. And I remember I had a nice check come in, and I was like, oh man, I'm just gonna go ahead and pay this back mortgage, and the bank at that time, we were already in the process, and they said, look, if you do that, we can't help you because the loan modification is going to restructure your loan so that now it's lower. So we're like, okay, cool. And they said, but you have to be, the trick was you have to be 3 months behind. So you're like, okay.
That is true. He is telling 100% truth. Before the banks would ever have a conversation with a lot of people back in 2008, and I try to tell people this all the time, that 2008, I hate when people keep trying to compare 2025, 2024. Man, this must be similar to 2008. Nothing was like 2008. Nothing was like 2008. 2008 was like nothing you can ever imagine for those of y'all that was not old enough to actually experience it as a grown, full adult out on your own, trying to figure it out. Nothing and no one was like 2008. 2008 was straight up gnashing of the teeth. You know how they like tell biblical stories of famine in the land? That was 08. When I see people sitting here in their privilege saying, oh my God, I make $120,000 a year and everything is so unaffordable, I just laugh at them and I'd be like, what's wrong with these people? How do we get to this point? How do we get to the point to where people are sitting here telling us that they make $120,000 a year and they're struggling? Oh my God, they're struggling. 08 was like the apocalypse. The world might as well was ending. There were people that were killing themselves because they were going broke, because they had lost everything, because their home, they lost everything. There were people that were literally offing themselves because they had lost everything. Listen, the 2000s through 2010, that decade, if that wasn't a learning lesson, if people didn't catch the wave, people that went through that, that's going through stuff still again today, I'd be confused. Like, nigga, you didn't learn a lesson? Because in the Great Depression, it then started a savings boom and everybody started investing differently and they started thinking differently about their lives versus just living La Vida Loca. How do you go through 2008 as a grown adult and not learn a lesson and make the adjustments and be winning later? So I feel him.
Okay. So now you go, okay, well, I'll pay these bills over here.
And he was right. You had to be, it's similar to a car, right? A lot of times they won't do anything or make any loan modifications back then unless they seen you were actually fully behind by 3 months, that you were approaching foreclosure. Then you was able to submit it. But a lot of times they finessed you out of your property. I'm pretty sure that he's probably going to talk about
it. Get the loan modification, it's going to be lower, so we'll be good. Not. We missed I guess something that was missed that morning and it went to sale. I'm driving to an audition and wifey calls me and she's crying like, yo, they're here. They are telling us we got to get out. I'm like, what? I turn around, I go back. Sheriff is there and with the real estate company or whatever who bought it, making sure we get out. It was crazy. Everything just happened so fast. They tell you got 5 minutes to put all your shit in a bag.
That's crazy.
And it was just like, it was slow motion. The kids were at school. They were little, so we were happy about that.
Yep, same for me. My daughter was born in 2008, so she was a baby. You know the thing that stuck with me about 08? Let me tell you the thing that stuck with me about 08. I never told y'all. I don't know if I ever told y'all this. When I was getting my cars taken, right? Because I had a bunch of cars. I had a Trailblazer SS. I had a bunch of cars, right? Because I was balling and I was making a lot of money, and then everything just It seemed like the rug just got pulled under your feet and there was nothing available in real life. I remember it had to be summer, fall, something like that of 08. And my daughter was born in February, so she was a baby. She was a baby. And I remember they were trying to repossess my cars, but my brother had blocked in the cars so that they couldn't actually get in the driveway and they couldn't get into the garage. But let me tell you how evil that they were, right? They were so they wanted to embarrass me. So what they did was they did it after working hours where everybody was home. And so you did hear about, yeah, I did tell you this. And they were going around all of the windows of the house and it was flashing the lights and it was like knocking on the windows. Hey, no, we need the cars. We need the cars. And I remember my daughter was crying. I remember my daughter, and obviously she was a baby, so she was like scared because people was beating on the windows and stuff. And I remember my daughter was sitting there crying, just uncontrollably, because she was just scared. She was just crying. And I was just like, that night, like that broke me. Because I always had made up in my mind that I was going to make sure that my daughter was taken care of and that she would never suffer and go through some of the things that I went through when I was a little kid. That did that. That gave me that moment right there, that night. That was the difference. That was the switch that turned on for me. And when people say to me today, Anton, why do you work so hard? Why don't you take a vacation? Why are you always trying to build homes? Why are you only purchasing things cash and you're not doing no financing? Why don't you sleep sometimes? Why are you so dedicated to winning? Why are you always working this, doing this and this? Why are you consumed with it? Why don't you care about this and all of that? It's because of that night. That day and that night, it changed me forever. It changed me forever. And I stopped apologizing. I stopped being a nice guy. I stopped focusing on what everybody else thought. I genuinely said, I truly don't give a fuck no more. The only thing that I made up in my mind is that I don't care who here. I don't care who there. My daughter will never, ever, ever remember this moment. And she'll never live to see the day that she'll never be able to experience this. I never, from that day forward, I don't care how much money I got. I don't care how successful I become. I don't care how many subscribers that I get. Nothing. And whenever I start to feel like, man, I'm going through a lot, or this life event is happening, or if I feel like, too many people is coming at you or whatever in my career previously, I always remembered that moment and I wrote it down. When I finally turned my cars in for them to get repossessed, I took a picture of it. I took a picture of them repossessing my car. And I made sure that I kept that in my portfolio. Because I always go back to that picture and I'm like, A, it could never get worse than it was right here. And B, I remember where I came from and I remember why I'm doing this shit, and it's over for you niggas. It switched. It was like something that cut on in my life, and it was just like, all right, bet. I just turned into a straight up beast. It just changed my perspective. It changed my life. And I'm forever thankful that they did that to me, because I'm still coming for everything. I still got that hunger in me.
We ended up in a hotel. A friend of ours who was a pastor here, was our pastor here back then. He, put his credit card up for the first couple of days.
Somebody says, oh, now they evil because you should have paid your bills. Now, of course, you're going to get a nigga that got his blue collar worker stuff on. And imagine a nigga that don't have shit that got his blue collar stuff on, talking stuff to me his name is standing on business.
No, they wasn't evil because I couldn't pay my bills. They were evil because they was knocking on my windows, and I got a crack on my window that we had to wind up repairing that had nothing to do with them repossessing the car. But it's okay because it actually turned me into a monster. My nigga, you should go ahead and get to work. Make sure you're not late, and make sure you punch in on time. Before I buy the shit that you work at. Where you work at? Let me see this shit. Okay, I can see the logo. I can enhance that. Get to work, nigga. Get to work, big dog. Let's continue.
Then we were in a hotel. We would shout out to the Embassy Suites for that free breakfast and waffles. The Embassy Suites, you know, and people probably say, but that's still nice. I mean, I'm just saying, we was in a hotel. I was fine. I'm like, listen, we got a roof over our head. We got some food. We good. We were homeless in the sense of our home was taken in that sense, not because there are way worse cases than what we went through. But it was still traumatic. Then being public figures, you go through that, and you know, which is why we ended up doing a reality show, because we just wanted to show that.
I think listen, big dog. Here's the thing. Nobody dodged accountability at all. That's the reason why I am great. Nobody said that I shouldn't have had my cars repossessed. Nobody said that I shouldn't have had to suffer. That's not taking accountability. But I think that people, and see, also, this is another thing that y'all got to watch out for. Because a lot of times people listen to you hold other people accountable, and they're waiting for you to fall. They want something to happen. They want you to, oh man, see, he said this, whatever. No, nobody didn't take accountability. That's why I'm rich and you poor as fuck. That's the difference. That's why I'm rich. Whatever the car was that they took, I made sure I bought a watch that cost the same amount. And that's why I got so many Rolex watches, because everything that I took, I replaced it in gold. I'm sharing a moment because men have to, at some point, turn on a switch and say, all right, enough with the bullshit. Now we about to take over the world. And if you don't have that moment in your life, if you don't have that thing that you suffer from, if you don't eventually suffer in some way, shape, or form, then you will never be great. Those people that literally off themselves in 08.
Man, we go through stuff too. Like our job is just different than yours, but we go through the same stuff. And you know, they took the house, and but the kids never missed a beat. They didn't really know what was up until later. We told them, but they figured it out. But yeah, we were going for a loan modification. It wasn't being irresponsible. They said, you got to be either 3 or 4 months behind. That's the only way we can help you and modify your loan. So they're like, okay, cool. And then the thing is, they let your mortgage, you know, build up. And then all of a sudden, oh, we don't have your paperwork. Oh, this, oh, that.
Yeah, that was a finesse.
Back then, you were faxing stuff. You know, it wasn't no email. It wasn't emailing documents like that. You had to fax it. And yeah, that's what happened, man. That's what happened. But we just kept going. And we had, again, a lot of people, a lot of friends who came through and really helped, whether it was groceries, whether it was helping with the kids, in-laws, like just, we had so many people help, man. So many people help. So I'll never forget that or take that for granted. That's when you see really who's rocking with you, who's there for you.
I think that it looks like he's got himself, and you know, he's doing well and stuff now. And that's the other part of this. That's the other part of this, is that a lot of times, and this is for the guys, a lot of times, you'll go through things and you'll feel like it's the end of the world, or you'll feel like, hey man, I lost everything. People laughing at me. I'm embarrassed. The neighbors know I lost my stuff, or whatever, so on and so forth. Man, listen, bro. Nigga, you 1 year, 6 months to a year away from recovering from everything and getting back on top of the world. It's gonna pass. It's going to pass. You ain't gotta have suicidal thoughts. You don't have to think that the world is over. You're going through it to prepare you for something much, much bigger. And you got to get that callus on your skin. You got to take that as a learning lesson. You got to have that as an opportunity to grow from anything that you done suffered through, whether it was self-inflicted or if it wasn't self-inflicted, if it was your fault or it wasn't your fault. You have to own that shit. It's the only way to grow is you got to own it. You literally have to own anything that happens to you and understand that it's always going to be another opportunity that come along. But are you going to be ready for it when it comes the next time? Are you going to be ready for it now that you learned the lesson? And that's what I'm saying. When I see people that went through 2008 and they going through the same shit in 2025, it's like, wait a minute. It's one thing to suffer, but it's another thing to suffer from the same thing over and over again. I'm not going to suffer from the same thing. If I'm going to go through something, it's going to be something new. But it was different back then. It was very, very different back then, man. Straight up. It was way different right back then. Used to think the world was over when you lost a job back then. I know, because we all go through it. But then when you wake up in the morning, you got to turn into a monster. When you wake up in the morning, you got to turn into a monster. And that lesson still pushes me and motivates me today. And it's so funny when I hear people that say, oh man, you grew up privileged and all of this. You don't know shit about shit. But it's not for me to teach you or to try to convince you. It's for me to continue to learn a lesson and push forward. Some beautiful life. Such a beautiful life. Beautiful life. Great show today, ladies and gentlemen. Sharik says it has been said that Bama imported all of those Somalis into Minnesota, and those Somalis illegally voted for those Somalis in government censored. That's not that unbelievable. Wayman Bird says, appreciate you for getting me off the Democrat plantation. I got you, big dog. Amethyst Angel says Tim got swatted while on a live stream. That's sad. Cardona Jason says, damn, I just picked up 2 land properties in Nevada too. Get these likes up. Yeah, this was a fun show today. This was an amazing show. I'm so glad that I got an opportunity to kick it with y'all. Absolutely. The Q show is tonight. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off of life. It's going to get better tomorrow. How about that? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm out.